In this video, I'm taking a look at the first release from a brand new light novel publisher for the English market, Tentai Books. Now, is their first step up at bat a swing and a miss, or did they maybe hit a home run? We're going to talk about that. Hello everybody and welcome to this light novel review. I am Justus Stone, and this channel is all about light novels, trying to help you find a light novel series that you are going to love. If you like light novels already, or maybe you're just starting to get interested in them, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. And make sure you hang out till the end of this video, because if you've read this book already and enjoyed it, or this one sounds like one you'd enjoy, I'm going to have a couple of recommendations of other series that you might want to check. In this video, I am going to be reviewing volume number 1 of There's No Way a Side Character Like Me Could Be Popular, Right? This one, as I said, is released from Tentai Books. It's their very first release in English as well as Spanish, because they're actually a Spanish company. The author is Sekaiichi. The illustrator for the first 2 volumes is Tomari. There is a different illustrator as of the 3rd volume. This is an ongoing series in Japan. There's currently the 3 volumes released. For the English release, the translator is Alejandro de Vicente Suárez, who also happens to be the owner of Tentai Books. Now, if you want to pick up your own copy of this one, I've got some links in the description down below. If you want to buy the ebook directly from Tentai Books, you can use code JUSTICE to get yourself 10% off. And again, that information is in the links down below. The story of There's No Way a Side Character Like Me Could Be Popular, Right? Is the story of Tomoki Yuuki. Now, Tomoki is the title side character. And the reason he sees himself that way is because, well, he's got that very typical light novel look about him that has everybody living in fear. They all believe that he's this big old thug that's going to murder them if they look at him the wrong way, and so the vast majority of people stay clear of him. Now, his best friend, Ike, is the exact polar opposite. He is handsome. He is incredibly good with people. He is sociable, intelligent, the top of the school. To Tomoki, he's like, I'm just his sidekick. Like, in the game of real life here, that he's the main character. So, hence the whole side character. Now, the story really gets moving when Ike's younger sister comes up and says, "Hey, I love you, Senpai. Will you be my boyfriend?" Now, seeing as how they had only met the day before, Tomoki's kind of like, what is this all about? Well, as it turns out, of course, Toka is, well, blessed and cursed, the same as Ike. She's intelligent, she's cute, she's popular, and essentially she's just getting a lot of attention from dudes that she does not want to have anything to do with. And so she basically says to Tomoki, "You're the most feared dude in the school. If you're my boyfriend, all those guys will just leave me the heck alone." So, it's not a real thing, it's a fake relationship, but how about you help me out and think of it as doing a favor for Ike. You're keeping his little sister safe. And so, of course, Tomoki is kind of like, hey, somebody actually really needs my help. How cool is that, seeing as how hardly anybody other than Ike will talk to me? So he decides to go ahead with the plan. Well, and of course, hilarity ensues. Now let's be honest, this first volume isn't breaking any major new ground. Even the whole thing about Tomoki being feared because of the look in his eye and his sort of, demeanor, the look in his face and stuff, that isn't even all that unique. We've seen that in other light novels. But what this book does right, and what I really enjoyed about it, is its characters. The characters are really likable, and their relationship with each other you get invested in. Not just, with Tomoki and Toka, but even Ike and his relationship with Toka, his sister, and with Tomoki, his friend. That sort of trio, and I mean, there's some other people that get in there. There's a Kana, who is a childhood friend of both Ike and Toka. There is a teacher that we get a sense is sort of been trying to mentor and help Tomoki along, who kind of understands that he's a good guy and that he's just misunderstood. There are these other side characters that I think are obviously going to get featured much more down the road. However, this book primarily is about Ike, Toka, and Tomoki, and they are, as I said, quite likable characters. Tomoki himself is the very typical nice guy, a decent dude who is misunderstood just because of how he looks. However, what I kind of liked in this book is that that's not the only reason that he's kind of feared. As it turns out that Tomoki's got the fists and the fighting skills to back up his thug-like appearance, and we have hints that there was at least one major event not too long before the book, and perhaps others before that, where he got a reputation for being an ass kicker for a reason. But he's not the kind of dude who does it just because he's a bad guy. So we figure there's probably a really good reason for it, but this is one backstory thing that's kind of left dangling, and it's mentioned often, but we're never really given the whole backstory. I figure that's probably going to be future content down the road. But overall, Tomoki is not that he's that decent guy. And what I liked about him as well was that as a main character, we often, especially in rom-coms that potentially have harems, the main character is usually incredibly dense and clueless. Now, I'm not going to say that Tomoki does not have aspects of that, but at least in this case, we gather that a lot of it's his interpersonal skills that are poor. There are times throughout the book that he does seem to kind of get a person, that he does kind of understand where a person is coming from, even if he doesn't really know how on a relationship basis to fix it or approach it. He at least has some insight to people. He's not completely clueless. But at the same time, I think that, and this is actually mentioned as one of sort of his character flaws, is that he always assumes that people see him as a worse person than he is. And that because so many people steer clear of him just because of how he looks, he kind of figures that people aren't going to get close to him. And so even when people kind of do, he's still a little weirded out by it. He's not sure what he's supposed to do. And I have to say that Toka is one of those female characters that I have a bit of a weakness for. A female character that has a bit of depth to her. She is at times arrogant, at times playful, at times sarcastic. She's got a bit of a foul mouth on her. But at the same time, she has like a level of vulnerability and also sort of, and also she's not clueless when it comes to how other people are. She's not like a tsundere just for the sake of being a tsundere. She's not like, she has certainly elements of different archetypes to her, but the way they're combined in her backstory and her motivations make her a slightly more interesting character. And I think what really works about her character is that she and Tomoki kind of complement each other really well. Where one has a lot of weaknesses, the other one has a lot of strengths. Where one is kind of oblivious to even some of the things that they're doing that harm themselves emotionally, the other one kind of points them out and says, hey, why are you doing that? That's not doing you any good. Even the fact that Tomoki himself sees things just in a very simple way, that helps Toka in a lot of ways as well. Again, I don't want to spoil too much about it, but their relationship is one of those things that you can really root for. And when you've got sort of this rom-com that the whole first book is based on the idea of this fake relationship and that, the book doesn't end by the end of the book. So you're kind of, obviously I feel that you're going to be left in this situation where it's like, this relationship, where is it going to go? Where is it going to take them? It's that kind of relationship that you get behind. The one that you kind of like, I kind of hope this transitions from being fake to being real. Even Ike, the way that he works things around, that he's trying to help Tomoki out. he knows that his buddy is like this good guy, and that if people would just get past the rumors and the, appearance and everything else, that they would realize just how decent and helpful he is. And so Ike operates a lot in the background, kind of doing things that, on the one hand, initially I kind of thought, oh, is he just kind of using Tomoki for, hey, dude, I've got stuff to do for student council that needs some lifting and stuff. Can you come help me out? Oh, hey, I've got sort of a menial, really boring-ass job. Can you come help do that for me? But initially, that's kind of the feeling. I was kind of like, maybe this isn't as good a friendship. But as the book progresses, you start thinking to yourself, maybe the reason Ike is doing this is because it allows him to show other people, hey, look how helpful Tomoki is. Look how easily he just is like, cool, yeah, I'll help you out. He's a good guy. Stop judging him. Don't listen to those rumors. You get the feeling that Ike is kind of working in the background trying to pump up Tomoki's value as a human being, which, again, I enjoyed. I enjoyed the fact overall that you don't have a bunch of characters that are really damaged. These feel like teenagers that have teenage problems, teenage angst. Yes, and there's a couple points where it maybe goes a little far, but overall, particularly with these three characters, they feel like they're legitimate. They don't feel like I'm a 40-year-old man with a bunch of emotional problems that I'm going to try and work out through teenage characters. And also, of course, the theme of this book, obviously very much that whole judging books by their cover and everything else. That I liked because it was applied to a variety of characters in a variety of ways, and all of them, it kind of affected them differently in terms of their emotional state. Also, if you read the blurb on this book, it makes it sound like it goes full-on harem right out of the gate. And obviously, yes, there is a character, I mentioned her already, Kana, who is introduced, that the way, like, as a reader, especially if you've read a lot of rom-com light novels or watched a lot of anime, you will obviously know that she probably has a thing for Tomoki. But the way it is written, and because we're reading this from Tomoki's point of view, you could also see it that she is just deathly afraid of him the same way everybody else is. So I kind of liked that, even though they're playing a little bit, obviously, with this, there's going to be a little harem-esque aspects to it. It wasn't like right out of the gate, boom, this girl's now confessing, or this girl's confessing, or you know what I mean? It didn't come off heavy-handed like that all of a sudden, like, just because one girl is dating Tomoki, all of a sudden, like, yes, he's super now, Mr. Popular. It just means that there's doors that start to open to him that get him involved in other situations where people do give him a chance. It's not that sort of like, oh, I'm super popular. That's kind of how the blurb makes it sound, and I didn't think the book really came off that way. Now, obviously, I got the print edition from Tentai Books. I got this direct from them. You can actually order it also through Right Stuff. I know that they're trying to get some distribution, at least through Book Depository as well. I said in the beginning, they are a Spanish company, so there are some international logistics in terms of trying to get the print copies into other retailers like in the North America. But they are making efforts, and as I said, you can order it from Right Stuff if you want, or you can order it directly from Tentai Books. It's actually really well done. The size is pretty much in line with a yen-on light novel. Although what's kind of interesting, it does have a slipcover, like a number of other like Japanese releases do. I mean, it's not really necessary because the slipcover is the exact same as the actual book cover, but it's not a bad little addition to the whole thing. The quality, it's a really well done book. There's some slight tweaks that they said they want to make with future printed releases, which I think will probably be welcome. Like the margins are a little bit close inside. I don't know if you can, but I mean, I still was able to read it just fine. Also, in terms of the translation, I thought it was quite readable. I know Sean Gaffney, I read his review on this one. He was not too thrilled with some of the colloquialisms, like calling each other bro. Or there was one line that he points out, and I agree, smell you later. Maybe that is the Japanese that was used, but it seemed a little out of place. But overall, I thought that it read really well. I thought that it was very readable. There were some slight typos once in a while in the book, but to be really honest, there was nothing worse than what I have seen in any of the other major publishers. For a first effort, like a very first release, I thought it was actually really well done. Overall, as I said, I enjoyed the story. And now for the print edition, also just to make you aware, there are some short stories included at the end of it, just as a little extra value if you pay, of course, the higher price for a print book. The short stories, I won't get too heavily into them because, as I said, they aren't included in the digital, but they are a lot of fun. Mostly they involve Tomoki and Ike being caught in compromising positions by other people. But I have to say, like, here's the thing. So the short stories, a number of them, not all of them, but a number of them, start with Ike saying to Tomoki, hey, I heard these girls talking about this, and they seem to think it was like the most amazing thing. What do you think? And, like, for instance, one is being hugged from behind. And it basically is like, it goes the same thing where Tomoki's like, well, I don't know, dude, do you want me to try it on you and you can see whether it, like, does anything for you? So they're just, like, so easy going with each other. And then, of course, they get caught, usually by a female character who they're kind of like, oh, yeah, I know what this looks like. We're not really, but, you know. And I kind of enjoyed the fact that it actually, at one of the first ones, the girl was kind of like, well, you know, if you guys are gay, like, I don't really care. And they're like, well, no, we're not. I mean, if we were, but we're not. And then at the same time, the girl's kind of like, but man, that BL kind of material. I thought it was kind of funny that they slide like a little bit of really soft BL content into the back of this. However, it did make me kind of think to myself, like, Ike is this super popular guy, but he doesn't have a girlfriend. He doesn't really seem interested. Now, that could be just him. I'm not, you know. But at the same time, I was kind of like, I wonder if he kind of has, like, a thing for Tomoki. Or it's just, like, a super tight bromance. I don't know. But anyway, I thought to myself, I was like, that would be an interesting twist. And if it was handled properly, it could be fun. But I don't know, because it doesn't happen in the book, so... So overall, you know what? For a first release of a brand new company, I thought this was really well done. And the story is fun. Again, predictable, but very likable characters. Some fun moments definitely throughout the book because of the characters and because of how they get along with each other. Enough that I definitely want to read more. This was one of those books that I just burned through in a single day, which really nowadays doesn't happen very often. So, and I think it was because I liked the characters, because I wanted to see how their relationships were going to grow and sort of what their backstories were and what their real deal was with each other. So a really good first book from Tentai. Good translation, as I said. You know, you may disagree with the odd little thing here and there, but overall, very readable, very enjoyable. And you know, you just gotta give some props to a company that comes out with a rom-com as their very first book, because seriously, we do not have a lot of slice of life, modern day, no superpowers, rom-coms in the English market. When you consider how big a thing it is in Japan, especially in anime and manga and stuff, it is kind of surprising that it is pretty underserved in the English market. So, you know, kudos to Tentai for that. We actually spoke with Alex from Tentai Books in the Light Novel podcast. I'll leave a link if you want to hear a little bit more about his plans and why he came out with a rom-com right out of the gate. So that's one that you can check out if you are interested as well. In this video, I want to say a special thanks to New Valaric, Ine Elkana, and Jean-Luc Chautier for their support on Patreon, as well as the support of all of my patrons who help to keep this channel running and help to support all of my other light novel projects like the Light Novel Podcast, and EnglishLightNovels.com. So now for a couple of recommendations if this book sounds like something that's up your alley or you've already read it and you liked it. Now, again, don't forget, if you want to pick up the digital copy from this one, direct from Tentai Books, you can. I've got a link to their website in the description. Use code JUSTICE to save yourself 10%. Now, if you want to check out something else that's kind of similar to this, one of the other rare rom-coms that we have in English is Toradora, which involves, again, a male character who is misunderstood because he has a thug-like look to him. But there is also a girl that is like a firecracker that everybody is afraid of. And the two of them decide to work together because they each have a crush on each other's friends. That series is actually complete now. It has 10 volumes and is fully available in English. So if you want to binge a rom-com, that is definitely a title to check out. For my other recommendation, I would suggest you check out Bottom Tier Character Tomozaki. This one is a newer title from Yen On, but it's already got, I think, 4 volumes currently available. It is essentially, again, it's a real-world slice-of-life title, but it takes a slightly different approach. The idea is that the main character is this incredible gamer who has a very poor opinion about real life because he's kind of like, life is a crappy game. There's no rules. There's all sorts of cheats that you can't get if you're not born to the right person, if you don't have the right looks, and so forth. And he ends up meeting up with this girl who is incredibly popular at his school, and she's basically like, look, you're just approaching things all wrong. You just got to put in the effort, you know? You got to grind the game if you want to get ahead in the game. And so she starts giving him tips, and it's kind of about how his relationship grows and everything else, and how he starts kind of reconnecting with the world by learning these tips and tricks. I've only read the first volume, but I thought it was really a very good book. It's getting tons and tons of praise from people. Definitely a series that I want to check out more of. So that one I would recommend as well. Now, it's not really a recommendation, but, if I don't at least mention my youth romantic comedy Is Wrong As I Expected, which is one of the other really big rom-com slice-of-life titles that we have in English, somebody's going to be mad at me. But you know what? It is such a popular series. I don't know if it doesn't need me to recommend it. There's like an anime. The final season of the anime is airing right now. It's not complete in English yet, but we do have, I'm trying to think, I think we're up to the 10th volume. Plus there's I think 2 side volumes. So we've got 10, 12 books in that series. So again, another one you could binge. So I'll throw that one out there because I don't want haters in the comments. So for my next review, I just kind of decided that to heck with this real world crap. I'm going to get myself isekai'd off to a fantasy world. And this is a title that has been delayed so many times. That's the other reason why I was like, I got to read it. Because I've been bitching about how it's been delayed so much that, I really wanted to get around to it. And so that's going to be The Eminence in Shadow, volume number 1. Isekai about a boy who decides to basically create a secret organization in the world that he finds himself transported to. That'll be my next review. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining me in this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Till then, bye-bye for now.